Welcome back, Stasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy, and today's knife I have before you is the Grayman Knives Dua. Dua in Indonesia is the Indonesian word for two, and this was Grayman's second folder, so that's what they called it. Their slogan says, "Tough knives for tough jobs," and I'll let y'all know right now, I sought out this knife when I was working as an operator in the plants, as a chemical plant operator. I was looking for a purpose-driven knife, something that was tough and kind of overbuilt, but still could handle, your normal day-to-day EDC task as well. And the more I looked, I kept seeing this knife pop up, and I just, it really intrigued me. And the price point at the time, there wasn't a whole lot of knives that were offering this package for the price point, which is this with the titanium handles. It runs around, I think it's $295, I think I've seen on their website. And this is the older version with the, let's see if I can show you, with the CPM S30V steel. The newer versions come with CPM 20CV, which is a nice upgrade, but the S30V model is definitely no slouch. You can also get this knife with black or green G10, or you can find it in the carbon fiber variant, and the prices I think are different on all those. Cheaper, the G10 is cheaper. I think the carbon fiber is about the same, if not the same. These are USA made blades with a hand ground blade. It comes with a drop point. The nice drop point, a nice aggressive stone wash throughout the whole knife. If I can show you all that. See, very, very aggressive. And I've used this knife very heavily through, you can see some, scratches, but it definitely hides wear. Let's see. I don't think I can even pick up, I've cut anywhere from insulation to prying a pallet, sticking it in there, prying it out. I know it's not something you should do with a folder, but hey, that's all I had at the time, and that was the reason why I bought the knife. The blade length on this is 3¼ inches long. The handle is 4¼ inches, and that's a total length of 7½. This knife rides on the same type of sleeved pivot as a Sabenza, so it definitely has some super smooth action. That was something that really struck me to the knife. I love a nice smooth action, especially on a folder, and it's not on bearings. That's another thing. It's on phosphor bronze washers. I can't really get it in there to see, but probably one of my smoothest knives that aren't on bearings. Let's see what else. The very, very minimal construction. You got your pivot screw. You got 2 body screws. Flow-through design. You got some nice jimping back here and up here. I'll tell you right off though, I wear a size medium to small glove, and if you have a big old meat hook, you definitely might want to go with their bigger model called the Satu. It's a much bigger knife than this one. This one is more of your EDC size as far as in the hand. This is a rather wide knife. Let's see, get it close. You can see, let me see if I can get how wide it is. Let's see. So in your pocket, you're about 1.41 inches, and let's see, millimeters. You're about 35.9 millimeters wide at the widest point. So it is a rather wide knife, but everything's nice and softened. Whenever it's in your pocket, you're coming up, it sits in your pocket like this, and you can easily get your hand in and out of your pocket, no problem whatsoever. Has a nice lanyard hole. You can fit 550 through there. The pocket clip's not the prettiest thing in the world, but like I said, I think this knife was made for the working man. I know it's not a cheap knife, but quality sometimes costs money. Not saying that a cheaper folder isn't quality, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's get the blade stock thickness, because that's another thing. This thing's a beast. Comes in at 4.18 millimeters. Not like some of those big pocket cleavers that I've seen that are almost pushing 6 millimeters. One thing that I noticed whenever they were when I was looking for them way back when, is the edge grind, the edge bevel, being that it was hand ground, was very, very rough, and you can kind of see the remnants all along the blade. It was almost like it was sharpened on an 80 grit belt or something. I reprofiled that so it wasn't an issue. I don't know how they come now, but another thing that I wasn't too keen on was the way the plunge line came down right here. I wish they would have left a sharpening notch, because as you can see, this knife will eventually have a bigger recurve than it already does. It has a slight recurve as it is, but being that I can't sharpen all the way to the back right there, it'll eventually get a little recurve, which I may put that choil in there myself. I'm not sure. I just wish that how they made that cut right there, they could have made it a little bit further. It would have cleaned up the lines on the knife, but not hurting the functionality of the knife at all. The jimping definitely grabs your hand. It's not overly aggressive. The knife, it feels good with gloves on. That's usually when I had this knife in my hand. I can disengage and open the knife with gloves on. As you see that speed. This thing is not assisted. It just rockets out. Absolutely no blade stick, no blade play, up or down, left or right. This thing's a bank vault. I think I used this knife probably 3 years pretty rough and never had any fails in the lock. It stayed smooth, and it stayed a really, really, really nice knife. Anybody who owns one of these can pretty much attest to it. It's a well-made knife. The people at the company, if you try to message them, you will more than likely talk to Miss Sue, and she is one of the nicest women I've ever talked to in my life. She is so kind. I told her what I did for a living, and I told her I was really trying to get a hold of one of these knives, and they make these knives in batches, so it's not always easy to get the certain one you want. But she told me that she would make sure she held one for me, and she held up her end of the bargain. Whenever they had a batch come, I didn't have the cash at the time, but she held one for me. And lo and behold, whenever I did have the money, it was almost a month later, she had that knife ready for me, and she shipped it. As soon as I sent the money, she shipped it to me. They give you a nice little handwritten message on there. Just very, very nice people. They have some other folders, and they have some nice, gigantic, mean-looking fixed blades. Go check them out on their website. I think it's GraymanKnives.com. Let's see. The only thing I have in my pocket is the Orbit, the Hawk and Pachinko Orbit. Let's see. I know this is a terrible size reference because there's not many of these out in the wild so far. They're about the same size. Let me see if I can grab a knife real quick, people. Sorry about this. Let's see. All right. Well, I couldn't find anything. Sorry about that. I try to keep this as short as possible, and my wife and kid are about to come back into the house, so I'll wrap it up. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day, and remember, live every day as if it were your last. Peace.